Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Today I'm going to be doing the home sweet home tag. Now, I've seen quite a lot of American YouTubers do this, but I don't think I've seen anyone in the UK do it. It's basically a tag about your home. It's quite pleasant. It's a little bit different from the kind of videos I normally do, but I liked it, so I wanted to do it. I've not been tagged by anyone, but yeah, I wanted to do it. So I've got the questions on my phone. Okay, so question number one, what is your living what is your living situation? Do you rent, own your home, live at home, etc.? I own my home. What type of house do you live in? Apartment, townhouse, tiny home, etc. This is on our mortgage application, it classed the property as a end terrace house, but it's, in my opinion, it is a ground floor flat. It's not in a high-rise flat or anything. Literally, there's just us and the people above us. But yeah, that's the situation. Do you currently live in the city, suburbs, or country? We're somewhere in between the country and the suburbs. My understanding, we live in Cornwall. It is a rural area, but we don't live in the middle of nowhere. Like, we have a little cluster of houses. It's not a village. We're kind of on the outskirts of a town, but in between a town and a village, if that makes sense. So rural suburbs, I'm going to say. How many people live in your home? Who do you live with? I live with John, my husband. Do you own your home? When did you buy it, and how old were you when you bought it? If you don't own your home and rent, when did you move into your home? We bought this place in 2009. We viewed it Valentine's weekend 2009, so January, February, and then we moved in on my birthday, which is the 5th of April. How long have you lived in your home? 7 years? Is that 7 years? 7 years. My maths is awful. How many bedrooms? We have 2 bedrooms. One is full of loads of stuff and we never go in it apart from to get our clothes in the morning. But yeah, technically it's 2 bedrooms. How many bathrooms? We have 1 bathroom. It is a very small house. What was the selling point for your home? What sold you on this place? I feel I have a hair on my lipstick. Basically, it was in the area that we wanted to buy, like location-wise, it was where we wanted to be. It was a good price point for us. It was brand spanking new. We were the first people to ever live here, and we wanted a brand new property because we both work full-time, and you know, John's self-employed and he works crazy long hours, so a doer-upper wasn't really an option for us at that time. We also didn't have the skill set to do it, so we just wanted a place where we could move in and just live our lives. Yes. What is something that you love about your home? It's mine and John's first home that we lived just the 2 of us. We lived together before we lived here, but we actually lived with John's parents. We lived with John's parents for 5 years. We did that so we could save up and be able to afford a house. But basically, so what was the question? Something you love about your home. So because it was our first home, just the 2 of us, we learned a lot of lessons in this house. So, you know, before I lived here, could barely cook, and now I actually really enjoy cooking, and without sounding big-headed, I'm good at it. But when we first moved in, couldn't cook. Everything we ate was was something that you put in the oven for it came out the freezer, you put it in the oven for 20 minutes, you ate it. That was kind of my food level. So I've kind of self-taught myself, and that's a lesson here. Same, you know, we had arguments about money when we first moved in, which we never really did before because we didn't have any financial pressures because we lived with his mum and dad. We didn't have to pay his parents any money because we were saving. And if it got to a point where we didn't have any cash, we just took it out of the savings. Whereas when we moved here, all of a sudden we had to pay council tax and water bill and our mortgage, and it was like, so that was a big learning curve. Something that I actually love about this house, when we viewed this place, on our little cul-de-sac, there was only 2 properties had been sold, so we had pretty much choice of any of them. John picked this plot off of the plans even before we viewed it, that he wanted this one because we bought the corner plot. We have the largest garden. We're also slightly wider, so we are slightly bigger than the other houses, and we have extra windows because we're not overlooked by anyone. The builders put extra windows on our property, which gives it a lot more light. So our house is very similar to one of our neighbours, like the same shape and layout, but as they don't have as many windows as us, their property feels a lot darker. So that's something I love about this house. What's something you hate about your home? Hate is a very strong word. Something I dislike about our home is, like, no, I don't know how to word this properly. Because of the layout of our house and our neighbours, where in reality, because we're the end plot, there's no reason for anyone to come to our front door unless they're coming to us. However, on occasion, our neighbours' children uses that path in front of our house to play, which is nice, but it sends Darwin and Gilly, our dogs, into a meltdown when they're running outside our front door. So that's, yeah, I wish we had another bathroom. I wish I had a bigger kitchen. I wish I had a separate dining room. So they're not necessarily things I hate, but they're things that I wish were different. What is a future project you plan on completing in your home? There's loads of it. The bathroom needs painting. Our bedroom needs painting. I've been saying this for months now, I want to change the decor in the main open plan living area part. As you can see, we have red sofas. Ideally I'd like new sofas, but they're very expensive. So I'm looking for the perfect sofa covers. I've been looking for months now at sofa covers and I can't find ones I love. But yes, I want to kind of neutralise a lot of the red and I want to bring in a bit of blue. If you've seen my table cover, what's the word I'm looking for? Tablecloth that I have, it's got a lot of pinks and paisley, and the main colour is like this very almost duck egg blue. I kind of want to bring more neutral tones and that kind of blue into it. Get rid of the red. I'm over it. We've had the red pretty much. Yes, because the sofa we had when we first moved in was red as well. So the sofa we had before these sofas. So I'm over the red. So I'm ready for a colour change in here. Also, ever since we've been here, we've been talking about pulling up the carpet in the entranceway and just having panelling or wood flooring or something put in. It's never happened. So yeah, there's lots of little things that I'd like to do, but they're all pretty much decorative. So yes. What is something you changed in your home immediately after moving in? Not a lot, because it was a brand new house. Like, it was freshly painted and everything was like off-white. There wasn't a whole lot we had to do. Buy a lot of furniture because we didn't have that. And yeah, literally when we first moved in, we had one 2-seater sofa from Laura Ashley that was kind of a million years old but beautiful. But we didn't even have that for the first, or actually, yeah, as soon as we moved in, literally we had an old like box telly from the early 90s, and we had 2 camping chairs when we first moved in. That's how we lived. So kind of the first thing we had to do was buy a whole load of furniture as and when we could afford it. What is something you always wanted to do to your home and never get around to? Probably sorting out the flooring. there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's not ideal. Like the carpet we have is fine and it works great in the bedrooms, but I think in this living space, especially because we have 2 dogs, it would be better to have it up and have a laminate or a wood panel put through, because it would make life a lot easier on the cleaning front. If you had to do it all over again, would you rent / buy your current home? If not, why not? Oh, I feel like I'm cheating on it by saying this. I probably wouldn't buy this property again. Not because there's anything wrong with it. I think when me and John bought the property, we were a little bit too conservative with what we could afford. We should have probably stretched ourselves and bought bigger. And that's a silly statement to make, because obviously the housing market has gone a little bit, well, a lot crappy, and we were quite lucky to not really be touched by that. And then obviously back in 2013 I was made redundant, and we had a couple of months where we was living off John's money because it took ages for my redundancy pay to come in. So if we had stretched ourselves, maybe we wouldn't, you know, something else would have happened and we might have had to lose that house. But kind of looking at it now and the way the prices of the market are now, we could have got bigger for the same amount of money, or a little bit more money. We could have probably got a house or something with more space or more privacy. But I still love my little house. But yeah, if I was going to have a crystal ball and do it again, I'd probably pushed for something a bit bigger. And I think actually we should have had more faith in our ability. Like I think I've already said, we bought brand new because we had no knowledge of what to do to an older house. But I think now we're older, looking back, we would have survived, we would have coped, we'd have learnt, would have watched a YouTube video and figured out how to do it. So yeah. And does your home have any quirks? If so, what are they? Do you like those quirks? Why or why not? It doesn't really have any quirks, I wouldn't say. Apart from a lot of our neighbours complain about damp. And obviously our house was built exactly the same time, by the same builders, by the same company, and we don't have any damp issues. But I'm very big on ventilation, and obviously we have the extra windows, which may be, obviously we have the extra windows so we have them open, so there might be a reason. But no, I don't think we have any quirks as such, which is slightly gutting, because I actually now think I really do like older properties that have a little bit of character. The property that is attached to John's business that his parents live in, if you've been with us for a very long time, you would have been there. We did Vlogmas there in 2012. We stayed there over Christmas because John's parents went on holiday for over Christmas and New Year, and it's beautiful, and it's big old granite building, and there's so much character in it. And then we come back to our new little white box and it just feels a little bit soulless, which is probably why I've got so much clutter in it, because I feel it gives it character and gives it a little bit soul. That's another thing I probably dislike about the property, is that if I go to one of our neighbours' homes, it's like houses are exactly the same. And one of our old neighbours that don't live here anymore, we had very similar taste, and her property was so similar to our property, and it was like every time I bought something for the house she'd be like, oh, I love that, and then she'd go out and buy it, and it's like our houses look the same. But that actually opened my eyes to charity shopping and things, and then I bought a lot of items that are a bit vintagey and a bit different that you can't buy. So really that was character building, to try and make this home individual and give this house some soul, so it's not a clone of its neighbour. That got quite rambly. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I tag everybody. If you want to do it, do it. I will try and remember to link the questions all below. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye guys.